Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for being a little patient with us. Having a little bit of pairing issues. Looks like Snowman is now here, ready to go, and we're getting them all paired up. We should be seeing the two of them start to search here in just a second.
Awesome. So we might as well go ahead and talk about these two teams here, Gemma.
Oh wait, hold on. I am now reading in the Discord.
Oh, he's not home at the moment.
Oh yeah. So we might be having a change of plans. We might have to have Gil VGC instead of Snowman. We've got some cool stuff going. We do right now. There's the current poll. Do you know who Freddie Mercury is? What's your answer to that, Nibs?
Yes, I absolutely know who Freddie Mercury is. One of the best singers of all time.
Indeed. A bi icon as well, Freddie Mercury.
So did you say a bicon?
Bicon, indeed. A bicon, indeed. Okay, so it looks like we are still going to get Snowman, I think. They're working on doing it via data, so sorry, a little behind the scenes, a little miscommunication about start time, it sounds like. So we are super excited to bring y'all this game. We're going to have Yellow Eyes versus Snowman here. Our very first match of 2021. We are seeing some really interesting teams here. What do you? What's the first thing that jumps out to you when you look through these two teams, Nibs?
I'm actually really excited to see Heatran. We've been seeing a lot of Spectre going around out there, but Heatran is something that I think could be used a lot more than it actually is. It's 4 times weak to ground, so it kind of needs like an air balloon or like a Shuckaberry, but it's something very good. And fire and steel types are really good in this meta.
Yeah, for sure. Heatran, I think, is something that has been kind of ticking up a little bit in usage, specifically to counter Glacier. Being able to... Oh, we have got a Call Your Shot caster challenge next week. We've got Turtle Mania. Give me that roller coaster rematch next week. Some of y'all who are unaware, we have got a channel point redemption for if you want to challenge a specific caster, you get the opportunity to. We've got Turtle Mania, who just played Roller Coaster just last week, is now laying down the challenge for next week. So yeah, we're going to figure out when we can get that one scheduled, and we're super excited to bring y'all another Roller Coaster v Turtle Mania game. So.
Was that just last week, Gemma?
I believe that was just last week. The time has been a little rough. So we do have 88% of people saying they do in fact know who Freddie Mercury is. That makes me happy that many people know. We just gotta get that up a little closer to 100. Freddie Mercury, one of the greatest pop singers of all time and rock singers of all time.
Nino Pokebros in the chat is saying, Nibs, you going down, I'm saving. Joel, I'm coming for you, bro. You remember last time we faced off? Remember seeing that Crobat on your stream?
So yeah, we got some really exciting stuff here. I'm excited to see this Entei here. I think that Entei is such an interesting Pokemon when used supportively and can be so tanky. So I think that's one really interesting Pokemon we might be seeing from Snowman. But obviously this core of Galarian Moltres plus a Metagross is kind of just good. I would call as close to good stuffy of Season 7 that we have. They're, two of the most consistent Pokemon in terms of how they're piloted and how they're used. So really excited to see how this match breaks out. Getting to see more of that Ghost Horse is always great as well.
Yeah, it's something also to kind of mention is Metagross and its popularity in Series 7. It was probably the most popular, if not really, really close to the most popular Pokemon day 1 of Series 7, or even in the preview of Series 7 before any teams were really out there. And to see its usage even to this point in the series it's pretty impressive, really.
Yeah, for sure. It continues. It's similar to Dragapult throughout the entirety of VGC 2020. Having that clear body and just being able to kind of resist all of the opposing Dynamax stat drops is just such a good ability. Such a good ability.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually have seen quite a few Metagross plus Dragapult teams, so it's like totally counter-intimidate, and I don't even think it's intentionally meant to be that way.
Yeah, I mean, the Metagross also operates so similarly. So it's like a cross between Dragapult and Excadrill from Series 1, like with the ability to raise your defenses with, stab steel spikes, as well as You don't have stab max quakes anymore, but you can continue to raise your tankiness that way. The one big change is Urshifu is such a threat to Metagross, and we do see an Urshifu on Yellow Eyes' team right here, so that is something you have to be really careful of. If you're gonna have a counter to it though, Galarian Moltres is a pretty nice one. Being able to go for max airstreams, you're still gonna take a lot from something like a Wicked Blow or a Surging Strikes, but being able to get max airstreams up and get speed control against opposing Moltres, really nice against opposing, Urshifu, not Moltres. But yeah, so we got some interesting stuff here.
Yeah, there's also a couple of Trick Room setters in Porygon 2 for Yellow Eyes, and for Snowman, it looks like Cresselia is also there, and it even has that Mental Herb option, which I haven't seen a whole lot of it, at least not since like 2016 or 17, but looks like Snowman is trying to bring it back here where you're not going to be able to taunt that thing. It's going to be able to get Trick Room up without any problems. Yeah,
for sure. So I also want to note we had another redemption go on here. Tiki VGC, Chase has redeemed Pick a Caster's team. I'm curious which caster's team he's picking. Probably going to be Rollercoaster's, given the fact that Rollercoaster has now been challenged. That would make sense. But we also are seeing some predictions roll in for this game. We've got who is going to win the first match of the night, Yellow Eyes or Snowman. Effie or Yellow Eyes over on the left, we're going to be seeing the game from his perspective. And then Snowman, whose team is over on the right, we'll be seeing as the opposing team.
Awesome. It looks like our trainers have selected their Pokemon, and we are getting into set one of match one of tonight. Let's see some hype ATX emotes in the chat there.
Yeah, and we're seeing a question. Both players are first-timers on ATX VGC from Santacos. That is correct. This is both battlers' first time playing here. So really cool stuff. Excited to see what these two have brought. I also know that Effie is based in the UK, so it's also pretty late for him over there. I believe
Green Lantern. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah, Green Lantern. Thanks so much for the follow.
Yeah, so it looks like Snowman is just going to lead here with the Grimmsnarl plus Entei lead, as Yellow Eyes is going to lead with Heatran and Rillaboom.
Yeah, so the one thing that's interesting about this Heatran being on the field immediately is you do threaten max Steel Spikes, but the only problem is you don't have a switch into a Sacred Fire. It's so nice being able to switch that Heatran into a Sacred Fire, get the Flash Fire boost, and put yourself in a better position. It doesn't have a ton for the opposing Entei, and it's going to have to watch out for something like Bulldoze proccing the initial Shuckleberry before something else like a Metagross can come in to clean up. It's going to really come down to speed tiers in terms of who's in a better position. But we see right here off the bat a turn 1 Dynamax coming out from Effie with this Heatran, gonna get big, a gigantic Steel Fire Frog.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see either a Steel Spike or a Max Quake, potentially the Quake targeting down that Entei, try and get rid of that so Rillaboom has more pressure later on. But it is going to be a light screen coming from Snowman's Grimmsnarl. And a Sacred Fire probably targeting down that Rillaboom that was there, but now it is the Cresselia. It takes pretty close to half health with that crit and a burn in the first turn of the game.
Yeah, so we do see a burn right off the bat with that critical hit. Another one now should be enough to go ahead and clean it up. The Max Steel Spike comes out through that light screen and goes ahead and picks up the one-hit KO onto the opposing Grimmsnarl. So you're in this position, you've traded your Grimmsnarl for a light screen, but you've also got now half damage down on this Cresselia, and it's burned. Not going to be benefiting from Grassy Train because it's levitating, so it doesn't have the ability to heal back that burn damage every single turn.
Yeah, very cool. I'm not sure if the light screen trade with the Grimmsnarl was the best play, but I do know that Entei doing that much damage into the Cresselia, that might pay off here in the next few turns.
Yeah, something like a double up right now could deny Trick Room pretty easily. I don't think that there's a safe enough positioning for this Cresselia to set up Trick Room anymore. Had it been not for the crit plus the 50% burn chance, maybe you're in a position where you could tank out another one. It probably would have done significantly less. It might be closer to like 60 to 75%, or something like just a raw Thunderbolt plus a second Sacred Fire wouldn't be enough to get the KO. But in this case, I think that you're in a really good position if you're Snowman to get the KO onto that Cresselia and deny Trick Room.
Shots fired by Eric. Thank you for the follow.
Yeah, thanks so much. Also, with that opposing Rotom now on the other side of the field, you got to be a little bit worried about, it being able to get set up. This Heatran can't really hit Rotom particularly well with the combination of Levitate and the stab moves from Heatran being not very effective into the opposing Rotom.
Yeah, so we are going to see a Dynamax here. This time it is by Snowman, and it is going to be the Rotom Wash. Potentially going for a Max Geyser to try and set the rain, maybe mitigate some damage from any Max Flares that could be happening from Heatran on Yellow Eyes' side of the field, and the Cresselia actually going for Ally Switch this time around.
Yeah, everyone's favorite support move. We see Entei just decide to ignore the Ally Switch, go for Snarl to bring both of these Pokemon's special attack down by one stage. Really strong supportive move in this case, as the Rotom goes for the Max Geyser. Did it predict the Ally Switch? That's the question.
Wow, and that actually does go into the Heatran. Not sure if they were trying to get rid of the Cresselia or if they were predicting that Ally Switch. Potentially, it could be either one. Max Quake is going to come out this time around from the Heatran, targeting down that Entei. With that, after that Snarl, that is not going to do a whole lot of damage. That's doing about 30%.
Yeah, the combination of Light Screen plus Snarl is really cutting down on the damage output from Yellow Eyes' side of the field. Effie's got to try and find some kind of consistent damage output, especially now that the rain has been set. Moving second would have been nice, but you really needed to probably try and change the weather and opt for, losing out on a turn of a bunch of damage. It is at +1 special defense, which is nice, and +1 physical defense. Both of these Pokemon being in that position. But at this point, the opposing Rotom being able to go for rain boosted Max Geysers, it's going to kind of offset offset the Max Quake from last turn. So you're going to be in a much tougher position. Yeah,
it looks like Yellow Eyes here taking their time, trying to plot this one out. They do have advantage here with 4 Pokemon on the field, and one, the Cresselia is burned and at half health. And Heatran this time around just going to opt for the Max Guard, as the Entei is going to go for another Snarl, really trying to mitigate the damage output coming from that Heatran.
Yep.
Going to do chip damage to the Cresselia and lower its special attack stat. And we are going to see another Max Geyser going into that protected Heatran. So very good turn there from Yellow Eyes, as we do see the Icy Wind finish this turn out coming from the Cresselia.
Yeah, being able to trade that Max Guard so you don't get a second Snarl drop is nice, but now you didn't boost your special defense in any way, shape, or form, and now your max is up. Cresselia did get the Icy Wind off, which is going to be really nice speed control. Likely now this Heatran should be outspeeding the opposing Rotom, depending on how these two are trained. I say should, but I guess we don't truly know until we know the speed stats of both these Pokemon. But yeah, putting yourself in this better position here, where potentially Rotom Wash in the back, I'm sorry, the Rillaboom in the back can definitely deal with the Rotom Wash, but you have to get rid of the Entei first. You don't want to necessarily have to take a Sacred Fire and get burned. Even in the rain, it's still going to be doing some nice chunk damage, and you have that 50% chance of getting burned, which is going to really hamper your damage output.
I'm just going to say Derek. Derek, thank you for the follow.
Yeah, thanks, Derek. So here we see the Crest this time around is going to go for the Helping Hand. It looks like we're getting a little bit of lag on our server. I'm going to see if I can't fix that real quick.
Yeah, so we do see the Helping Hands come from the Cresselia. Earth Power comes out from the Heatran, targeting down that Entei. Not entirely sure how much damage that did. It looked like it got it to about half health. Snarl comes out, I believe, from the Entei, going into both of Yellow Eyes' Pokemon here, and it is going to be a Geyser going into that Cresselia, so it looks like it's going to be the end of game 1 here for Cresselia.
Yeah, Cresselia there did manage to stall out 3 entire turns of Dynamax after taking that big crit Sacred Fire on turn 1. The combination of the Ally Switch on turn 1 plus the targeting into the Max Guard on turn 2 of being here, it stayed around a little bit longer than I kind of anticipated after the crit Sacred Fire plus burn. And oh, the reveal, the Urshifu is actually the water form and is going to be boosted in power here. So that is your way through Entei.
Absolutely. I think we might see a Surging Strikes come out from this Urshifu here.
Yeah, it's a very free surging strikes. The only problem is this Heatran's not positioned particularly well, being both in the rain and the only attacks that it can do into the opposing Rotom are going to be not very effective. So I really like this pivot around. The scariest thing is going to be, you know, having to take any kind of damage on the switch in if something like a Thunderbolt comes out from this opposing Rotom and maybe get something, you know, cheeky like a full paralysis. Things could get a little scary. We do see the extreme speed revealed as the next move from the Entei. Is going to go and break any potential focus sashes. We don't know the item, and it's only going to take 2 of these surging strikes to take down Entei.
Yeah, so big surging strikes that there, as we saw the Heatran retreat, and it's going to go into the Rillaboom. However, I do think you might be correct about proccing any potential focus sashes, so that way this Rotom is able to just click Thunderbolt, targeting down that Urshifu and getting rid of it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, oh, and the grass has ended from the field, so a really critical time for that. Now this Rillaboom is on the field with no grassy terrain, so it doesn't have access to priority grassy glide. If you do remember though, the Cresselia did go for that icy wind earlier on in the game and should be in a position to be faster, but this Moltres will also be faster, so you gotta really be careful if you're this Rillaboom. It kind of feels like that's your win condition, because that's the only way you're gonna be able to knock out the opposing Rotom Wash, but you're incredibly weak to the opposing Moltres.
Yeah, I'm not sure that either one, the Heatran or the Rillaboom, have anything for this Moltres. I think the Moltres might be free to just go for something like a nasty plot on this turnaround, and then it's just free to go for the fiery spread attack next time around.
Yeah,
and that would basically just do it.
Yeah, the safer move might be something like a Protect out of fear for a fake out like this right here. Just really trying to preserve that potential win condition. But yeah, we do see a double up here into this Moltres. The Flash Cannon doing almost no damage. It does get a special defense drop onto this Moltres, which is really important. And Rotom is incredibly free just to go for a nasty plot. Now in a position where I think a Thunderbolt is incredibly scary. The rain has now stopped, so fire moves are no longer going to be cut in half by damage, but still not going to be doing a ton of damage into that Rotom.
Yeah, it really depends on the speed stat of the Rotom, but at -1, I think it outspeeds most Rillaboom, but I don't know how this Rillaboom is trained.
Yeah, I think at -1, most Rotom, I would say, don't opt for full speed investment, so they tend to be a little bit more bulk invested. We haven't seen the item on this one. We don't know if it's something like a Citrus Berry, you know, trying to put itself in the best kind of tanky, bulky position. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty tough endgame here for Effie, as both of these Pokemon just don't really want to see an opposing Moltres, because it's tough to get any damage down onto it.
Wow, so that Rotom for Effie, they're just opting for the Protect, and the Fiery Wrath is going to come out from the Moltres this time around. Gonna bring the Heatran down to 57 health, as a knockoff is gonna come from the Rillaboom into the Moltres, knocking off that safety goggles. That's good information for the rest of this match, as the Berserk is gonna proc, and yeah, Flash Cannon coming out from the Heatran.
Oh.
Gonna leave this Moltres with like 2 HP.
Yeah, for sure. The Protect, that special defense drop from the previous turn, putting in a whole lot of work, but this Moltres is able to hang on just a little bit. This Rotom really needs to take care of the Rillaboom this turn. I think if you're the opposing Moltres, you just have to go for something like a Air Slash into that Rillaboom and get rid of that, and just trust that your Rotom can take care of everything else on the field.
Yeah, so Heatran this time around opting for that Protect. Fire Wrap does come out from the Moltres. Only going to target this Rillaboom this time with the Protect from the Heatran. And this is going to bring it down to 36 HP. Grassy Glide does come out from the Rillaboom, however, and that's going to be the end of Rotom for Game 1 here.
Yeah, really nice. Really nice positioning there from Effie. I guess technically the Heatran getting to survive and continue to force this to be spread damage might potentially live to get one attack off into this Moltres. I guess it's really going to come down to just how much Fiery Wrath is going to do here.
Yeah, if this crits into the Heatran, it's over.
Oh, no, it's just enough to take out Heatran immediately.
Okay.
I missed exactly how much it did on the first one, but that Moltres hanging on with just what looked like the smallest sliver of HP is going to be enough to propel Snowman to the 1-0 here in game number 1.
Yeah, very close game there. What a way to start off the first ATX VGC friendly of 2021.
For sure. Really close down to the wire game. There's some interesting reveals in terms of the items, seeing these safety goggles on that Galarian Moltres. That means you're really free to just go for something like a super effective move. You usually have to be kind of afraid that, you know, you might potentially proc a weakness policy on a Pokemon like that. But now having that information from the knockoff, and I think even that knockoff probably was the most amount of damage that Effie could do into Snowman's opposing Galarian Moltres. So let me go ahead and update our overlay so that we have got the correct record going here. It is 0-1. But yeah, I'm curious to see what some of the adjustments are. I think that that was kind of a dangerous game there of letting that Rotom sit there for a really long time, and similarly from Snowman not attacking with the flying type move into the opposing Rillaboom really opened up a potential endgame. If the Rillaboom hadn't switched in on that turn where it did, it could have had access to grassy terrain and just gone for grassy glides for several of those turns.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if that's something that they kind of wanted to think about when they were making that switch out from the Heatran into that Rillaboom, where they could have just reset it next time around. Or, I mean, that was such a close game. It was a nail biter at the end there, really.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like chat. I was talking about exactly what they were talking about. I didn't even realize it because I was updating overlays. But yeah, really the grassy terrain is going to be super important, I think, to this Rillaboom. You basically need the Rillaboom to counter that opposing Rotom Wash. You know, maybe you could get it done through something like the Spectrier. But yeah, the Urshifu, Water, Cresselia, and Heatran, not exactly what you want to see in a Rotom Wash fight. Close combat's still going to do a good amount of damage, but Surging Strike's just not really going to get you a whole lot.
Yeah, what do you think about Spectre in this matchup? I think it's kind of close to see if you want to use it, because it is such a great Pokemon and it does get the defense drops and all that. But Snowman has two dark types and a fire type that likes to use Snarl.
Yeah, for sure. That is really interesting. The highly supportive Entei looked like a Salt Vest based on the damage that it was taking, and that is a really common item on Entei when it's being supportive. Its last move is probably something like a Bulldoze, just to try and get additional speed control. So we saw Extreme Speed, we saw Snarl, we saw Sacred Fire, and usually they run that Bulldoze for extra speed control. But I like Spectrier a lot. I don't know exactly what type of Spectrier this one is. If it's the fully offensive, looks like we're having just 1 second of delay as our trainers are getting matched back up for game number 2. But yeah, whether or not that Spectrier is fully offensive, or if it's maybe like the mixed supportive set with something like a Taunt, with something like Snarl and Will-O-Wisp, then that could be really, really key. You know, you usually don't think about wanting to have your Spectrier against a Moltres, but if you're able to continually Snarl it and your Focus Sash, then it might not be the worst thing in the world, especially if you've got access to redirection with your Clefairy on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So one thing to actually mention, side note, that you were talking about the Bulldoze potentially from that Entei. If that's the case, you could use that to proc the weakness policy potentially on the Metagross if it's there. And you can also get rid of a Shuckaberry that could potentially be there from the Heatran that could maybe even allow you to use something like a max ground attack from the Metagross.
Yeah, for sure. It is. It's definitely something that Bulldoze usually is there for self-proc onto your own Metagross. So that's definitely an option to you. And I think that Metagross in this matchup doesn't look particularly bad. When you look at the opposing Pokemon, especially now that you know that Urshifu is Water type, you know that what's a water type Urshifu going to be doing into a Metagross? You know, Surging Strikes will do some damage, but really what you're afraid of is taking a Wicked Blow after you get all of your defensive boosts. It is still going to crit with Surging Strikes, but it's obviously not going to be super effective crit damage. That's almost a guaranteed KO, right? So now you're in a much safer position to bring that Metagross in game number 2. That was some good scouting in game number 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
We see from Rollercoaster saying some wet noodle slaps is what you have to be afraid of from water type Urshifu.
Wow.
Very wet noodles indeed. Yeah. This is great. So yeah, sorry again, folks. We've got just a little delay going on, a little behind the scenes delay here, but we will be getting back to game number 2 of this matchup as shortly as possible. But yeah, some really fun stuff here in game number 1. I'm excited to see what happens in game 2. I'm excited to see how these two trainers pivot and utilize the rest of their teams.
Yeah, so guys, while we are waiting for them, if you like hanging out here with us and you're new here, thank you for the follow, Lark526. If you like what you're seeing, go ahead and type !Discord in the chat. From our Discord, Thursday mornings at 8 a.m., at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, our signups for Monday Night Friendlies will go live until Sunday at 8 p.m.
Yeah, and if you're wondering what are Friendlies, we can take time to talk about it right now, but Woke Velocity also just dropped the !Friendlies in the chat. What we do is every single Monday night we have these exhibition best of 3 battles. We've got this week 5 battles, so this is our very first of 5 of the night, and we're gonna be bringing y'all continued commentary of these live battles. Sometimes there's a little bit of a delay like we're experiencing right now, but
that just gives us more time to talk to the chat.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we also have a YouTube channel where we upload these, and we have a website. If you go to !Website as well, we have some merchandise where we sell the Choice Band headbands, and we have stickers as well. And any of that, just go into the website. Doing anything is just a way to show support for us.
Yeah, for sure. So exactly what the money, when y'all subscribe, when you buy merch from the merch store, what we're doing is we're trying to have this all go into the future of ATX VGC, and we are a local scene. We're based in Austin, Texas. We want to be able to bring y'all a higher production value at our local scene. So being able to broadcast our local MSSs, our PCs, and be able to kind of continue to grow the local scene. Since COVID, we're no longer just a local scene in Austin, Texas. We've become everyone's online local scene, and that's kind of been our goal. That's why we host these Friendlies. They strongly resemble what happens on our what used to happen on our Monday nights before COVID, where we would all get together and we'd just do series of best of 3s against one another, and then had to pivot, obviously, as everyone did in the last year, to something else, to something digital. And it's been really exciting getting to invite people in from all across the country and all across the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. We actually met last year in February, coming up on a year now that I say that, at Dallas Regionals. And we kind of didn't really have a scene at the time in Austin, and we all had the similar goal of kind of just creating one or finding one or just doing everything we can with it. And the 5 of us casters that are here, and Will included, we did exactly that, and exactly what you just said, where we had the local scene and we brought it here. Live.
Yeah. I'm catching up on chat here with some questions. Are there any ladder tours planned? So we don't have any currently planned in the hopper. I think everyone's been a little bit deep in PC3 prep, but I believe we are going to try and get one done before PC3 for everyone to have kind of a nice little dress rehearsal for that event. It'll be similar to some of the other ladder tours we've done in the past. I'm also seeing some questions about the YouTube. Yeah, we are working on the YouTube catch-up. I have got our new process in place, and starting tomorrow, there will be 2 uploads a day. Catching up on all of the old VODs of these battles. So after these battles go live, we will be posting them over on our YouTube channel, and we're in the process of catching up, but we'll get there. I'm also in the process of updating the website. So the standings on the website will be live with this week's results by the end of this week. Just a little bit of a database issue in switching over to Series 7 has made things a little harder because I have to add in a bunch of new Pokemon that weren't previously in our database. So, yeah, it looks
actually,
like...
Gemma...
Yes.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, on top of that, if you guys want to spend more time with us outside of our Discord and outside of right here on Monday nights, I just got done streaming, actually just a little bit, about an hour and a half ago. I streamed Stardew Valley today, but it's usually going to be Pokemon stuff, and Gem's here, she streams as well, and so does Chase, and if you guys show Rollercoaster enough support, he'll probably start streaming as well, and actually Woke Flossy streams as well.
Yeah, we are all streaming. I know Chase and I both hit affiliate this last week, and are now in the process of doing some cool stuff. So it looks like we might have had a case of Snowman being MIA here. Looks like Effie has gone ahead and signed up for the second one. So I think that we have stalled for about as long as we can right now. I think what we're gonna have to do is probably, thanks so much for the follow, Navir Streaks. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing. This is why I usually let Nibs do it. I'm awful with these things. Yeah, Rollercoaster does have an awesome commentary voice, and he will be streaming a little bit more. So, okay. Wait, are they? You are gonna be battling with the same rules?
Are we here now? Did we do it?
Maybe. Let's see if they. All right. If this starts, then we should be good to go.
Okay.
Sorry again about the delay, folks. Okay.
How is chat doing, by the way? How's everyone doing? We don't ask that enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
That might have just been yellow eyes.
Okay, yeah, it looks like Snowman is now ready to go. Not quite sure what exactly happened there, but we'll be, I think the rest of the time here, we're going to be distraction free, going to be able to lock in and bring y'all games number 2 and game number 3 of this set, or potential game number 3 of this set. And then we'll be moving into our second set of the night, which I'm super excited about, and I get to commentate with Woke Flossy versus Nino Pokebros. So here in game number 2, set number 1, let's go. We are now back in team preview.
Gems is hype.
I'm excited. This is a fun night. I've been super pumped for Friendlies. It's been a lot of fun to continue to do these, and I look forward to this every single week.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Gemma. I was actually kind of, not to brush this off or anything, but I was kind of thinking of it just as another like Monday night friendly, like, you know, we do this every week. And then you guys mentioned in the call, this is the first one of 2021. That got me so excited. That's like, we have been doing this for so long now, it feels like, for just over 6 months, 7 months, or whatever it might be. But this is the first one of 2021.
Indeed.
That means there's 2 calendar years that we've been doing this technically.
Yeah, for sure. Going now for 6 months, going strong. Every single Monday night, y'all can meet us here for Friendlies. If y'all don't know what Friendlies are, exclamation Friendlies in the chat. We'll go ahead and give you a little background to this. But, you know, the folks have heard us talk about it a bunch. Getting super excited though for the rest of the night. We've been doing 5 games now pretty regularly for the majority of Series 7. And we're gonna, I think, continue to do this as long as it doesn't get to be, you know, too late at like 12 a.m. kind of stuff for us. But let's see here. Looks like both of our players have now locked in.
All right. Yeah, as long as players don't take a few minutes in between games.
Yeah, I think we should be good the rest of the way, based on the Discord. So please don't say it. Yeah. Well. Exactly. I don't think that's going to be the case, Carter. Don't worry too much. Here we go.
Oh my goodness.
We got Entei plus Grimmsnarl as the lead yet again, coming out with that damage mitigation from Snowman's side of the field. And this time around, we see the Urshifu plus Spectrier putting down a lot of offensive pressure immediately off the bat, especially with no Moltres in sight. Not too bad to have the Spectrier in and, you know, potentially starting to get some of these Grimnay boosts before something like a Moltres switches in.
Yeah, if I'm Snowman in this situation, I am definitely setting up a Reflect with Grimmsnarl immediately and potentially switching out that Entei. You can't protect that thing in front of an Urshifu, and this Urshifu is so free to just go for a Surging Strikes in this situation.
Yeah, I might actually opt for the light screen, fearing that Spectre a little bit more, because Urshifu going for Surging Strikes is just going to crit through. So we do see the Moltres switch in. This is going to take quite a bit of damage from Surging Strikes. Probably trying to guess that something like a Max Quake targeting down into that. But I guess we'll see right here. The combination of something like a Max Phantasm getting a defense drop into Surging Strikes sounds terrifying, especially when you have speed control in the form of a Spectre.
Yeah, absolutely. And this Spectre is going to be the one that maxes for Yellow Eyes'. Reflect is going to come up from that Grimmsnarl, but as you mentioned, Surging Strikes might just go straight through that. Max Strike is actually what we see from the Ghost Horse here, targeting down that Moltres, and that brings it down all the way to about 40% health. And we are likely going to just see a Surging Strikes targeting into that Moltres slot as well.
Yeah, the Moltres does get its Berserk procced, but I hate to say it, Moltres, you're not going to be able to sit around to see this one in terms of an attack. So now you're in a really, really good position. The only thing that's important is that Spectre did not get a Grim Neigh boost, so we're not going to see a boosted special attack on this next turn. And the Grimmsnarl's around to click the other screen, so you can go for something like a Light Screen. The biggest thing is now that this Spectre as a Dynamax option is honestly acting more like a support Pokemon, going for those Max Phantasms, dropping the defense, and getting this Urshifu in a position where it's going to one-shot anything with those crits through the Reflect.
Yeah, that's absolute madness to think that this is actually a tech.
Yeah.
It's not one that I have seen too much, but I mean, a -1 anything, getting attacked by Urshifu with either close combat or Surging Strikes, good night.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing that, could probably live and still isn't going to like it is something like the Metagross coming in. Yep, as we do see it is the Metagross right here. So you do have to kind of, play that game. Are you going to go ahead and proc the special? Are you going to proc the weakness policy on the opposing Metagross, knowing that you're also not going to be able to get the defense drop into it because of the Clear Body ability? We do see that that's the play, just, saying it should be enough damage, the combination of them. I'm interested to see kind of just how much this is going to... just how much this combination is going to do with that Surging Strikes, critting through Reflect, but also not being super effective.
Yeah, I think Snowman here has to go for something like a Max Guard with that Metagross, predicting probably a Max Phantasm targeting into it. And then the Surging Strikes can't go through Max Guard, but it can go through Protect, so that's something you need to think about.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, even like a Max Guard plus Spirit Break into the opposing Urshifu might be something, or you could just, recognize that I'm not as worried about the damage output from the Urshifu onto my Metagross. I'm more worried about the special attack coming out from that not Grimmsnarl, Spectre, where you can go for something like a Spirit Break to drop a special attack by one stage, followed by a Light Screen next turn. But yeah, you're definitely in a position here where Max Guard feels really free because it's going to be a double up likely into that slot.
Yeah, and we do see the Max Guard from the Metagross. Spectre does go for the Phantasm into the Metagross, and it is a double as predicted coming from that Urshifu. Spirit Break is going to do exactly like Gemma said, going to target down that Spectre and lower its special attack.
Yeah, so now the Spectre is at -1 special attack. You're free to go for that Light Screen with the Prankster ability. The only way that previous play doesn't work out is if something like a Surging Strikes into the Grimmsnarl happens, as opposed to the Surging Strikes into that Metagross. So yeah, you're definitely a little bit scarier now. But I'm curious to see just how Effie's gonna adjust here in this turn. Now that this is your last turn of Dynamax with Spectre, big splash on turn number 1 going for that Max Strike plus Surging Strikes. Now you have to deal with something like this Metagross. You got to really hope you've got something of an answer in the back. The Light Screen does come out, so now a -1 Spectre against the Light Screen. Yeah, that's not going to be enough there. And more.
Yeah, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, more importantly, it's also going to proc the weakness policy on that Metagross.
Yeah, so that Spectre only doing about a half health into that Metagross. It's not going to be good enough, and it also, it's getting targeted down by that Surging Strikes coming from the Urshifu. But procking that weakness policy, as Gemma mentioned, is not going to be a fun time for Yellow Eyes.
Yeah, as Mr. Missouri in chat says, those noodles do nothing. Yeah, not very effective move from an Urshifu, not using something like a Choice Band. Going to be a lot harder to get a ton of damage down, especially with the Rapid Strike variant as opposed to the single strike variant. So Spectre did a good job with turn number 1 getting that getting the Moltres off the field immediately, but now in a much more precarious position as it goes down. So And we do have a new poll that has been posted, the best Urshifu for Series 7. So if y'all want to go ahead and comment on wet Urshifu or dry Urshifu for Series 7 best Pokemon.
Where's my sticker, Amy? I voted. All right, so I'm wondering if this what do you think Yellow Eyes needs to do in this situation? It's not much of a pressure spot coming from them in this time around, as all you have on the field is a support Pokemon plus something that can't KO anything in this situation. I don't think Grimmsnarl can go down to Surging Strikes here.
Yeah,
and it's going to target down the Metagross anyway.
So looks like the play is to go for the Helping Hand and hope that it's enough damage. It looks like it will be just short, but this Metagross is now in a crit. No, yeah, it always critical hits. Looks like the potential like a first low roll, and the last one might have been closer to a high roll, as it is enough to go ahead and get the KO right there. That looked like it was an incredibly safe position. Wow. And the Spirit Break doing not enough damage into the Urshifu does break any sashes if that's what the Urshifu's item is, and I'm not going to reveal that. I think that we can all see it on our side, but yeah, that was a critical game-changing play right there, being able to knock out the Metagross with that Helping Hand Surging Strikes, and now this Entei comes back in, and it's not going to want to take a Surging Strikes.
Yeah, that's very impressive. That Spirit Break did not do enough damage to two-hit this, unless that was a low roll in that situation. But this Urshifu here is just free to go for Surging Strikes into this Entei, and it turns out to be a completely different game than what this could have been, barring that Snowman went for that Max Guard turn one with the Metagross. Well, turn one that the Metagross was in.
Yeah, I think it was still the right play on that, getting the Max Guard in, because you were able to get the Spirit Break drop into the light screen, which was really critical in not taking quite as much damage, but still enough of 2 Surging Strikes. We just see the extreme speed come out from the Entei. That is importantly +6 on the speed priority, so it will go before any kind of redirection like Follow Me or Rage Powder. So it's the one free way of trying to ignore any kind of redirection and also try and pick off anything that's down to its focus sash.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like Surging Strike here from the Urshifu does just about exactly 1/3 for each hit. So just barely being enough to pick up that KO. And a Follow Me here from the Clefairy is going to mean that a Spirit Break is going to target the Clefairy instead of the Urshifu. So Urshifu still stays on the field. It's going to be Grimmsnarl, potentially one of the best Pokemon in Series 7 versus the world.
Yeah. I love
Grimmsnarl.
I know Grimmsnarl is one of your favorite Pokemon. I also want to say we got a redemption during this last stream of Pick a Caster's team, with JJ Silva getting a chance to pick a Caster's team. So JJ, go ahead and coordinate with me after this, and we'll figure out exactly whose team you're going to be picking and when it's going to happen.
Absolutely. So Yellow Eyes here is just going to opt for the Helping Hand coming from that Clefairy, and Surging Strike comes out once again from this Urshifu, targeting down that Grimmsnarl, and that does very close to 1/3, but I don't think it's going to be enough, as the second attack brings it to half, and it is going to lead, it's going to end with about 33% health, 35% health.
Yeah, so another Spirit Break here is enough to go ahead and pick off the rest of this Urshifu. And it's all going to come down to what the 4th and final Pokemon is for Effie, as the Heatran is revealed, and that's pretty much a checkmate. Not, having access to super effective Flash Cannon plus redirection right now means that you're incredibly free to just go ahead and actually getting to potentially reveal this move. I guess we'll wait and see. I don't want to reveal it if it doesn't get revealed in the game. Flash Cannon right here is just going to be enough to go and pick up the KO. No redirection needed, and that's enough right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is going to end the second game there. So this does go to 1-1, which means our first set of 2021 goes to match 3, game 3.
Yep, let me go ahead and update that right there. We are going to game 3 in our very first set of the night. Super exciting, so. And we're still in set 1. Okay, yeah, there we go. Sorry about that. Just making sure I get everything right. Also want to correct, I had the priority brackets wrong. The Follow Me and the Extreme Speed happen in the same priority bracket, but because Entei is faster than a Clefairy, that's why I went first. Not that it is, I was mistaken thinking it was an increased priority of +1.
Yeah, so it looks like chat is asking for a game 3 emote.
That's actually not a bad idea. We need
No, that's kind of cool.
we need a couple more subs before we unlock our next emote. We are right now, I believe we're like 12 subs away from our next emote slot from Redemption, but yeah, so we can work on a game 3 emote being one of those things.
Absolutely, and it looks like Adam is also just saying he's just going to use the hype emotes for now, which also works. You guys are free to spam the ATX hype emotes as often as possible, and also ban roller coaster. Absolutely.
Yeah, ban roller coaster is really the key one to spam pretty much whenever.
It looks like Joel is pretty hyped to play as well. Gonna be facing off against one of our casters here, Amy Woke Flossie.
Yeah, Woke Flossie coming off a really great match last week against Zordor, getting the win with the team that she got handed 5 minutes before the battle with the Pick a Caster's team. It was originally supposed to be Scarlet's Skill versus Zordor, and Scarlet redeemed the points to go ahead and let Amy use his team against Zordor. So yeah, Amy coming off a great game right there. She's also had a really solid week of laddering. She's been kind of in and out of that top 100, I think as high as number 14 from what I saw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the even crazier, more hype thing about that situation is she was facing off against Zordor, who had just beat Zeke. Shout out to those guys because both of them are in our community. They had just gone into the final of what was that, Kiki's tour?
Yeah, it was the Kiki one.
The day or two before that day.
Hey, thank you so much, Anonymous Gifter, for giving Turtle Mania VGC a tier 1 sub. Welcome.
Yeah, but that was very impressive stuff from Amy to be handed a team and then to take down Zordor, who is obviously one of the best competitors, not in our community, but in VGC.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, getting a big win in that Kiki's New Year's tour was pretty huge. But yeah, and also getting to do it with the Pokemon that he also used with Garchomp. Both of them brought Garchomp to those games. Super interesting stuff.
Yeah, that was very fun. So it does look like Snowman is going to just lead with the Galarian Moltres plus the Grimmsnarl, and Yellow Eyes on our side of the field is going to lead with Rillaboom and the Spectrier.
Yeah, that is one way of getting the drop on an opposing Galarian Moltres. I mean, an opposing Spectre is to lead with Galarian Moltres. You don't have to force any kind of wasted resources in terms of pivoting. So something like a max... or something like a Light Screen plus a max darkness is super free here and will still do quite a bit of damage even with this switch in right here, activating Friend Guard for the Spectrier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Snowman's kind of thought process here, potentially just being, I just lost a Spectre, okay, I'm going to lead with 2 dark types.
Yeah, we might also see something like a max Airstream come out from that Moltres, trying to get some speed control and be faster than the opposing Spectrier, but a really interesting play here from Yellow Eyes, going for the max strike to get back any kind of speed control that he might potentially lose. I'm really curious to see how this play works out for both of these trainers.
Yellow Eyes doing something absolutely crazy. Thank you for the cheer, Infernape Eat Grape.
Yeah, thanks so much, Monferno. Thanks, man.
So actually maxing the Spectrier turn 1 and gonna go ahead and switch in that Clefairy to get the Friend Guard. And Grimmsnarl just gonna opt for the Light Screen to try and prevent anything crazy happening. Max Strike is just gonna come from the Spectrier, targeting down that Grimmsnarl, actually, bringing it down to about 50% health. And this is actually a max Moltres coming from Snowman as well. Gonna be a little bit slower next time around, but this time probably just going to go for, and actually going for a max Airstream, targeting down the Clefairy, which was the Rillaboom in the beginning of this turn.
Yeah, for sure. The max Airstream play is really good because if the opposing Spectre doesn't go for max strike, you get speed control. But in this case, Effie went ahead for the max strike, so now this this Spectre is still going to be faster than the opposing Moltres. Plus, you have redirection on the field. You have to be a little bit careful that something like a max airstream into the Spectre coming out this turn, knowing that it looks like it's pretty close to knocking out that Clefairy. Something like a double up could get the KO into the Clefairy. But yeah, it's a little bit more precarious of a position now that redirection is active on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And Yellow Eyes here in this situation potentially just going for something like a helping hand or maybe even a follow me to protect the Spectre. And it is going to be a helping hand as we see. And fake tears come from Grimmsnarl. So we might see a big attack coming from this Moltres.
Yeah.
And Spectre, it does go first as it's going to be a max strike, targeting down the Grimmsnarl once again, and it hangs on, living on just barely a win.
I think that went down, did it? Yeah, that went down.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know the screen's a little bit smaller on your side. But yeah, now with this -2 special defense, it looks like Snowman went ahead and said, whichever Pokemon you want to not protect, I'm just going to go for the fake tears. Critically, this Spectre is now safe yet again. It is at -2 special defense, but it tanked that max airstream pretty well and still has maintained speed control against this Moltres. So now it's in a position where it can get one more big +1 max move off against this Moltres, and you're gonna protect yourself from a max darkness having access to Follow Me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this Spectre is free to, I don't know what's about to come in for Snowman, but depending on what does come in, I think it's free to just go for another max strike into the Moltres this time around. It looks like the Snowman is trying to play the long game with this Moltres. If it is able to outlive this Spectre through max, it could potentially just go ahead and win with a fiery attack with the Spectre on such low health.
Yeah, Spectre obviously in that position where any kind of dark type attack, once it's outside of Dynamax, will probably take it down, especially a dark spread. But it's in a position where it can take out this Metagross if the Metagross doesn't opt for a protect, and even if it does, +1 helping hand max Phantasm still gonna be doing quite a bit. And it looks like there isn't any redirection. There's no protect coming out from this Metagross. It's gonna be taking. Oh, it is actually gonna be protect. Helping hand goes off before protect, of course. So I'm curious to see just how much this is gonna do. It does also critically get a -1 defense down onto the opposing Moltres. So if you have something like your Urshifu in the back, and it doesn't go for a max airstream this turn, then you're in a position where your Urshifu can just kind of come in and go for surging strikes and do quite a bit of damage, probably enough to take out that Moltres at -1 defense.
Yeah, I think Yellow Eyes here actually wants the Spectre to go down to get a free switch in. Otherwise, Snowman is going to be in phenomenal position with this Moltres potentially. I don't know if +1 does outspeed Spectre. I don't think it does. After saying that,
it doesn't. +1 from Galarian Moltres should outspeed Spectre. Most are running Modest, which hit 200 base speed, versus timid Galarian Moltres, which I believe is 161. So yeah, at +1, you should be in a position where you're outspeeding Modest Spectre. Obviously, timid, that's gonna be a completely different discussion, but yeah, in this positioning, this is now a -1 Moltres, as well as a Metagross that's pretty low on health. You're forced with this Moltres as well. It doesn't have any attack boost. It hasn't gotten a Berserk yet. It doesn't have any weakness policy. We know the item is actually Safety Goggles. Oh, I'm sorry, Timid Spectre is the one that hits 200. That's the one I've been using. Not Modest. Modest hits lower. So yeah, it does. I'm guessing that was probably a Timid Spectre. But yeah, at +1, it should still be enough.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of an interesting position here that our players are in, where Rillaboom takes super effective damage from Moltres, and depending on what this Metagross has, this Rillaboom can't kill anything from this position, and I don't know what this Clefairy is. I mean, this Clefairy is probably just going to follow me, and maybe Rillaboom goes for a knockoff, so maybe that is its way to kill something, but I don't think a knockoff might not even take this Metagross down because it's already used its item.
Yeah, Fake Out here is pretty free into that opposing Moltres. The Iron Head will come out here, though, into that Clefairy, and it's going to be enough to just go ahead and pick up the KO. So you're able to delay by 1 turn But the scariest thing is that this Moltres still is in a position where it can go for like a super effective move. I think maybe what you wanted to do there was something like Follow Me plus Grassy Glide into that Moltres at -1 defense. Try and get yourself in a position where another Grassy Glide should take it out the following turn. But yeah, given the fact that both of these Pokemon now have the speed boost, there's only one more turn of this Grassy Terrain as well, which is something that Effie really has to be careful about. As we saw in game number 1, that was really devastating and pretty much sealed the game by not having access to that Grassy Glide anymore.
Yeah, something interesting we're looking at with Yellow Eyes looking to do on turn 1 while we're still waiting for Snowman to pick moves. I honestly, I'm curious if a knockoff would kill a Metagross from this position.
Yeah, it's super effective, but not boosted. Yeah, it's something where it's obviously still at the neutral defenses. But yeah, if this Rillaboom doesn't go for priority move, it's just going to go down without getting any damage off. We do just see the double priority into the opposing Metagross, as the Aqua Jet might just put this in range of Grassy Glide, and it does. We know this is obviously not choice banded Rillaboom, as we've seen it go for Fake Out, we've seen it change moves a few times, as the Air Slash comes out now, and this Rillaboom actually manages to live the Air Slash because that Moltres has absolutely no boosts. The worst part of this, though, is the Grassy Terrain is now gone, not going to be able to reset it for the rest of this game, so you can't go for priority moves anymore.
Yeah, absolutely, and we do see Snowman's last Pokemon is going to be the Entei. So I think Snowman is in really strong position here. It's kind of tough for Yellow Eyes. Yellow Eyes has to go for Surging Strikes into Entei if they want to put themselves in better position to try and win this.
I don't know.
Would you agree with that?
Hey, FXR05, thanks so much for the follow. I don't know that I agree with that necessarily. I think that this Moltres being at boosted speed is a little bit scarier. The Entei can't do a ton of damage into your Urshifu. The scariest thing is potentially getting a burn from it. It's something where if your Rillaboom is probably not going to live to attack this turn, so I think it's better to go ahead and take out the Moltres before it can. Oh my gosh, it goes for the Air Slash and misses onto the Urshifu. That's going to change the trajectory of this game by quite a bit, as now this -1 defense Moltres looks like it's going to go down here to a Surging Strikes. That's going to change the game completely.
Guys, I am totally blown away right now. I cannot believe it. That Air Slash miss just broke me.
Yeah. I mean,
so it is going to be a bulldoze coming from this Entei that's going to slow them down a little bit. But with that Moltres being gone, this Urshifu is now just. It's basically just free. I don't think that can a Sacred Fire take out a water type Urshifu?
It's not going to take it out. It can potentially burn it, trying to make its life a little bit harder. But yeah, from this Entei, all we've seen that can really do damage here is going to be something like an Extreme Speed. And actually, adding insult to injury, we see a miss on the Sacred Fire into that Urshifu. No chance of getting that burn. We're just going to see a Surging Strikes here, plus whatever the Rillaboom does if it's necessary. And it won't be. This is going to be enough for Effie to go ahead and take the game in our first set here of the ATX VGC Monday Night Friendlies. Wow, that game end.
Wow. So Happy New Year's. It looks like Yellow's Eyes must be paying the RNG gods a lot of money, because those two attacks at the end of the game, oh my goodness, Air Slash miss. I will not forget that one.
Yeah, that Air Slash miss really critical. The important thing was that it did still have its choice band. I mean, not its choice band. Its Focus Sash intact, so it would have been in a position, even taking that, where it wasn't going to go down until the Entei attacked. But yeah, that definitely just changed the trajectory. Now, you would have been in an endgame of Entei versus Rillaboom, which is, you would so much rather be in that endgame if you're Snowman as opposed to the 2v1. And hey, thanks so much for the follow, Kaizen GG. Yeah, that was, what an end there to our first game of the night. Pretty incredible stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That was, I think that was beautiful.